Good Monday morning, everybody. It's so nice to get together with you every Monday and to share a few thoughts from God's Word. You know, I've been doing this series about James 3, where James talks about the tongue. Well, I've decided rather than talk about James 3, I'm going to go back to James 1. We're still talking about the tongue, but I wanted to read this verse to you, James 1:19. Let everyone be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. You know, I've come to a realization, and this may not sound very profound, but I think the ramifications of it are very significant if we understand it just right. And the realization is this, that speaking is a privilege. Speaking is a privilege. As someone comes up to me for a conversation, somebody walks up, what they're doing is they're opening themselves up to me and making themselves vulnerable. Because as they speak to me and expect a reply from me, they're assuming that my words will have a positive impact in their lives. They are giving me the opportunity to speak into their lives, trusting that I will not hurt them or say anything that will bring them down. And knowing the power of words, knowing how much of a privilege that is, it makes me take it very seriously and ask, am I considering what I'm saying? Am I considering the words and being careful about the way I'm speaking? You know, Paul says in Ephesians 4:19, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for the building up of others according to their needs, that it may be a benefit to those who listen. You get that? Paul is saying that we need to carefully choose our words so that they have an uplifting impact on people when we talk to them. You know, we have a lot of thoughts flying around in our heads. There's a lot of stuff in there, and some of it deserves to come out as words, and some of it, let's face it, doesn't. And so we have this process by which these thoughts are kind of dropped into a place where they're vetted, where we think about them. And after some consideration, some of them come out and are verbalized. But sometimes we're tired, or sometimes we're angry, or sometimes we get excited, or sometimes we just aren't thinking, and those words come out without any filters. And sometimes they're just people who don't have that space, that just don't have that ability. Just whatever they're thinking, it just comes out. But you know, we have to realize that it's no longer a question of if our words are important or are our words important. We just have to understand. We know from the scriptures, we know from our own experience, our words are important. Sticks and stones may break our bones. Words can really hurt us. It's not the other way around, right? They are important, they are powerful, they have a tremendous impact, and we need to consider the privilege that we are afforded to speak those very important and potent words into people's lives. So the process of vetting our words must be serious. It must be something that we build up, like exercising a muscle. We have to strengthen it so that we vet those thoughts very carefully before we let them come out of our mouths. And you know, we can't have what I call Popeye mentality. Now, I watched Popeye when I was a little kid. He was a cute cartoon character, and the thing he would always say is, I am what I am, and that's all what I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Well, I think we get that kind of mentality. We just say, you know what, I am what I am. I say what I say. Oh yeah, I'm just, I let it flow. You know, I'm just that kind of a person. But we can't say that. We can't just say I am the way I am. We can't just say, oh, I'm just a hot-blooded Armenian and I have a temper and that's why I do these things. Or I'm just the product of my family culture and I'm just always around this stuff anyway. You know, God has given us language. He's given us the ability to speak, and He's given us people in our lives to whom we can communicate using that language. So if we have the privilege of speaking with someone, we have the responsibility to make sure our words will build them up and be a benefit, not only to them, but to anyone who hears. You know, we've taken 3 weeks now to consider the impact of the tongue, our words. I'd like to close by quoting a prayer of David in Psalm 19:14. It's very familiar. We all know this little prayer. But if you stop to think about it, what David is doing in this prayer is asking God to watch over both his words and his thoughts. And he is seeking humbly before God help with the very issue we're talking about. And I'd like to close just by reading that prayer together. He says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer." He's praying, Lord, watch over my mouth. Lord, watch over my thoughts. I can't do it myself. You are my rock. You are my redeemer. May we have that same prayer today, and may we go this day forward and think about what God is doing through us in the lives of others with our words. God bless.